So can we use personal pronouns such as I, we, and you? Hey, you want to tell me why not? Well, actually, yeah, we cannot. What's the problem here? Well, Mr. Travis is going to show you right now. Take a look here. If I say, hey guys, I think that driving in winter is what? Is very much, unbelievably dangerous. And you know what? Probably it's dangerous. Probably it is very bad, yes? But the point is here, this phrase, I think, it's ruining everything. It's spoiling the speech. Why? Because when you are communicating in academic world, you cannot just tell the people, hey guys, I think because I'm smart, and you don't think because you're not as smart as me, right? And I believe because I am the best, and you don't believe because you are not as good as me, right? This is not correct, and this is very disrespectful. And in the meantime, it is very impolite, right? So that's for that reason, what you need to do is what? You will just have to remove this expression. Oops. Oops. What are you going to do next? You will have to say instead of this, it is what? It is, believe it, once you say, I believe. Or you say what? Instead of this, again, instead of this, we can say, it is thought. It is thought. If you want to say, I think. So instead of I think that driving is in winter is dangerous, what am I saying? I'm saying what? It is thought that driving in winter is pretty much dangerous. Can you see how neutral it sounds? And pretty much smart, right? You're not saying that, hey guys, it's my opinion and I'm very smart. No, you're just saying that, hey guys, this is the point. This is the fact. What we need to do is what? We will have to believe in this because I'm going to give you guys the proof or several cases that you can consider to be pretty much convincing for you to accept this point from me. So that is what we call as a what? Academic way of communicating with people. So as you can see here, we can use personal pronouns, what? Only in some specific areas. But specific means not pretty much often or, that pretty much usual, right? Like, in usual cases, we don't normally use these pronouns. And once you put them in your papers, your professor, your instructor is going to have lots of troubles with you. So you'd better not, right? So let's move on. Like, take a look at this example. We should explore the causes of the riots, right? Well, it's too much personal. Please, what? Don't do that thing. Mana mashtem to'xtaymiz. Mash joyim, misol keltirgan joyimdan oldin kesiladi, keyin hozir yana davom ettiramiz. Hozirgina bo'lib qoldi, hozir. Tak, men pauzani bosmadim. 3, 2, 1. So, as you can see here, we can use personal pronouns in some specific certain places, but that doesn't mean that we can use it pretty much often. Now, let's take a look at these examples. The first one, we should explore the causes of the riots. Well, excuse me, who is we? Who are you? Are you guys like what? Like the Avengers, like, Captain America, or maybe the other smartest, the most unique people in the world, that you guys only just what? Explore the causes, right? Other people cannot explore, right? So from that perspective, I believe that you're not actually telling the good thing, right? Instead of this, we just need to make it impersonal. We just say that this is the fact. This is not an opinion. This is not that we're just showing ourselves off, but instead we're saying what? Hey, there needs to be a proper exploration of the causes of riots. And that thing actually sounds pretty much similar to what? Like something kind of fact that was proven before, according to some certain smart articles and experiments and the other things. So that's why what you need to believe is what you need to do is is you will have to transfer your English, your general English, into what? Into that much academic English, which will be very much comfortable for other people to have a look and read with pleasure. And that's why we're just going to go through academic English purposes classes with you, courses with you, so you guys can make your English very beautiful and very much fit into this academic world. So let's move on, right? I'm just going to clean this thing for you to make it more comfortable, right? Just take a look at here. Base structures around nouns rather than verbs. Instead of saying, hey, to maintain staff motivation, companies need to consult with managers before changing their job description. That's a very smart thing. I like that. Good job. But, excuse me, can I make it a little bit, more academic or something? Yeah, of course. You just need to take that change. Hey, this change doesn't look that beautiful. Oops. I'm so sorry about that. So you just got the point that this change will have to be removed. And it must be transferred into what? Into this changes. Here, it looks like a noun, right? So now this change as a noun, it is pretty much more comfortable and much better than that changing as a verb. And the same thing about this word consult. Well, I'm just going to remove this thing, right? You guys should not be using this as a verb, but instead we've got here consultation. And this consultation as a noun looks a lot smarter than the way that you were using this thing as a verb in the previous sentence. So, I guess we should move on with the other examples. Now, we use what? Actually, academic vocabulary rather than everyday spoken English. Well, instead of saying, as I said, I think, you should be using, it is thought. Instead of saying, I believe, you should be using, it is believe it. And there are some specific phrases and verbs and words and nouns and the other things that you will have to learn from academic English perspective that you will have to be using them in your speech, as well as in your writing. Where are you going to get them from? Well, there are some certain specific lists of academic words. Well, actually, your English teacher are going to provide you with, and that you will have to learn and try to use them in your academic English. So here you can see here there were at least 2 times when secret talks were held between the British and Irish governments. Well, this is really nice. It looks very beautiful, but not academic enough. So let's take a look at this. How can we change that? 2 times. I want to change it into occasions. Really nice. Instead of saying it in that intermediate level or pre-intermediate level, so we are what? We're just trying to make it look like academic. And instead of saying times, occasions. And believe me, you better not use these things when you are speaking with somebody else, right? Because they are too academic. You're not going to speak to your friends, people, academically. But once you are in the academic world, once you would like to write some papers, present some smart points, and you want to show the world that you are, let's say, responsible and reliable enough to show them some better things, that you will have to be using academic style, as more academic as possible. And our courses, our job, our purpose is to help you in improving that specific point. And you can see here that the talks, it was replaced by what? It was replaced this negotiations word. Now, you can see here that the NB means what? Like remember, right? Please remember that academic vocabulary is included in the academic word list available at these websites. And your teachers are going to also provide you guys with their specific sources, websites, and the other handouts. So let's move on with the next one. The next thing is what? Actually, please be careful when you are including what? Cautious phrases and modal verbs to show what? That you actually lack some certainty, some specific points, and you should not be using judgmental sentences. What does it mean? Well, there are two types of things. I mean, when you are talking from this perspective, from this point, there are some scientific expressions as well as emotional expressions. So instead of saying it is good, probably you could say it might be good. There you go. So, you can see that my T doesn't look beautiful. Well, that is the sign that the general English speech is not that as good, as beautiful as the academic English speech, right? So, take a look at here. All the strange weather is definitely caused by global warming. Well, if you are giving an academic point, you cannot say definitely. Why? Because, well, there are always chances that you are wrong, right? So from that perspective, instead of saying it's definitely caused, you will say what? You will say that the current abnormal weather conditions may be shown with reasonable certainty to be products of global warming. So, you can see here, instead of it is good, I'm saying what? It might be good, right? So, you should be a little bit rational and logical and specifically academic. And again, we're going to practice all these things during the whole your whole course of your entire academic English courses in our university. So let's move on with the next. The next one is what? So specifically, you can see here commonly used. Like instead of saying some, we should say almost everyone, but not some, definitely. And instead of saying many, you will have to say a majority. And instead of saying sometimes, we say it may be that, blah, blah, blah. And instead of rarely, under certain conditions. And now, specifically when we are speaking, we say what? Oh, it seems that this is not that good, right? Instead of saying this, you should be using the word probably. Or, some people would like to say probably, right? Probably is just pretty much that the speaking expression you should not be using. And you cannot be using short forms, right? Instead of saying don't, you should be using do not. Because it is what? Because this is what we call as full form. And this is what we call, the look that fits academic English. And the same thing with the one probably, that you could not be saying probably, as Americans love saying. So, and the next one is what? It is possible that, no, you should not be using this. Instead, what? Suggests that. Okay, let's move on. So, however, there are some certain things that you will need to avoid when writing academically. What are they? Over generalizing. Everybody knows that. That is not very much smart. Why? Because you're just generalizing. You're just saying what? Well, the earth is what? Has this not like square shape, right? Excuse me, everybody knows that. Why do you have to point this out, right? That's the same thing here, that everybody knows that. This is too much general, right? So that's why instead of saying everybody knows that, you can say just it is believed that the internet has increased the amount of accessible information. Or you can say the internet is believed to have increased the amount of accessible information. The next point is what? You cannot use phrasal verbs. Instead of using phrasal verbs, well, you could use what? Academic words, like establish, instead of saying set up. Where are we going to learn them, Mr. Travis? That might be the question that you wanted to ask right now. Well, I'm going to tell you. Your instructors and teachers are going to give you this, because this is our job, to make your English look super beautiful and pretty much academic, right? Okay, let's move on. Like, being emotional, that is not good. Look at that. The company's current marketing strategy is terrible. Oops, I don't think so. Being terrible, probably it's the fact, yes? But being emotional, I think you are being just a little bit subjective. But you will have to be objective, right? And from that perspective, if you put terrible out, if you take it out, and if you put many problems instead of terrible, that's going to look a lot like, just making sense, right? So the company's current marketing strategy has many problems that need to be solved. For example, you would like to continue, right? The next one is what? Imperative statements. If your IELTS is above 7.5, I'm pretty much sure that you know what we are talking about, right? But for those people who would like to get 7.5 very much soon, let me explain you. Imperative means what? Giving orders. Sit down. Stand up. You, reader, listen to me, right? Excuse me, this is not academic English. This is bossy English. This is horrible English. You should be very nice with the people and specifically with your readers. And that's what we are going to teach you in academic English courses. Well, EAP courses that we say officially, right? So let's move on. Abbreviations. Oh, come on. Are you serious? Are you going to be using these things there? That is not good. So, just going to show you one of them. A lot of people actually make a mistake by saying what? I saw this, that, and etc. I know that etc. is a very, very nice thing for you to show your, your intellect, your wisdom, right? Well, you want to say that there are lots of things I want to tell you, but I cannot tell you everything, and that's why I'm just going to put these 3 letters and put the full stop at the end. Instead of using this thing, well, we would say that you should say and so forth. Or you can say so on, but that's not going to be academic English. You will have to be using this thing in your speaking English. So that's why a lot more beautiful way of saying that, I saw this, that, and so forth. Instead of saying etc. etc is etc. And yes, that is an abbreviation. That is a very much short way of using that specific phrase. Now you can see here, at, that's not good. You will have to be using advertisements, right? Association, right? I.e., well, we say that is, or for instance, instead of using that thing. The next one, contractions. As I said before, don't, that's a horrible thing. Do not, it's a very much beautiful thing. Doesn't, not good. Does not is good, right? And you can see the other things in the list. Starting sentences with the and, but, yet, or, ouch. Probably your IELTS instructor or maybe other English teachers were telling you that, hey, listen, if you use but and if you use yet at the beginning of in the beginning of the sentence, well, that's a very nice thing, yes. But your academic English teachers are just going to stop you from doing that. Why? Yes, I know. You want to ask that why? Well, I would say that because these little, small, tiny elements should be right in the middle of, or maybe at the end of sentences. So let's move on. Now, this task is just going to be your homework. And please, you will have to make sure that you will be doing these things and show it to your teacher. So your teacher is going to help you out. What? Finding out how you come up with this idea, with this task, and how you solved it. And he's going to give you his own comments. So, well, it was a great pleasure to meet you right now, but I'm just going to give you 3 seconds, and then I will what? I will say so long. Well, because I'll see you around, and you will see me around. And whenever you have questions, our teachers, our university is always happy and ready to help you out, to make you stand out in this world of students, to be the best of the best. Thank you so much for your attention. Have a good and wonderful life at PDP. So long.